Now that's a bass, huh? That's a slab crappie, man. Just doesn't get any better. The smallmouth here in Champlain is phenomenal. Well, hey guys, it's Sunday night. That means it's time for another weekend roundup. I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy, host, fellow angler, ready to go. I'll tell you what a week this has been. It's kind of crazy with storms here. Fishing's been kind of wacky, but I know some guys are out getting fish. We got a couple of really good guests on our show tonight. First of all, Josh is joining us from Texas. We're going to bring him in a second. We have a great guy coming on, world-renowned guide Kirk Kirkland, probably one of the best gar fish in the entire world, going to join us. But before we do that, we got a couple of people to thank. Going to thank Marketing for Guides. You know, Ted Johnson's got hundreds of people that are satisfied clients out getting more butts in their boats because they're getting the website and the marketing strategies through Ted. If you want to get out there and get some more folks in your boat or your lodge, give Ted a call at 503-380-8012 or check him out at marketingforguides.com. Also, Tony Maja products. You know, if you want to get out in that 50-pound striper, you got to get into Tony Maja products, bunker spoons, mojos, custom rods, easy outriders. They got it all. TonyMajaProducts.com. Also, the Fisherman Magazine. You know, each week, Tim, I can't talk tonight, believe it or not. Jim Hutchinson will give you all the latest what's happening for the upcoming weekend, and you might even catch me giving you a little bit of what's happening here in the Poconos, all the tips, tactics, and tackle you need to be a better fisherman. So how about we get started with the show? First, I want to bring in Josh, who's out there in Texas. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, George?
Oh, not too bad, guy. You know, it's just that I know you're going to, I won't say it's hot here, but you're going to laugh at me being down there by Houston. So, well, Josh, guess what? We have a great guest. And unfortunately, he's had some or video problems. So we're going to bring our guest in on audio only, unfortunately. But we have a great guest tonight. I said Kirk Kirkland. I know you've probably seen him before, being a big gar fisherman yourself, Josh.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him for sure. So definitely a known name around these parts.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to bring him in here. We can get the conversation started. Before let's see who we got comments from already. Tom Gilmore. Hey, Tom, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us. So I want to bring in Kirk Kirkland. Are you there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
There you are. Hey, sorry we couldn't get the video working, but that's okay. We can talk about some gar fishing anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
So why don't you tell us? So where are you based out of, Kirk? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm based out of Texas, which is about 70 miles north of Houston, Texas. I fished the Lake Livingston River river system. I've been guiding through catch and release and tracking that lake. Everybody else is calling their fishing.
Kirk, you're kind of dropping out on the audio, my friend, unfortunately.
Is that better?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, that'll work. I said I'm Kirk Kirkland. I was based out of Trinity, Texas. I'm about 70 miles north of Houston, Texas.
Oh, right above Houston. Okay.
Yes, sir. I started guiding for these fish in 1998, catch and release. Everybody else was shooting in here. And, I started catching people all over Europe. And I did my first show with Infishman in 2004. I caught a 230-pound fish with Doug Stone. And that opened my American clients back up.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to say, the clients I have now are from all over the world, all over, the Northwest. We do a lot of stuff with bait. We fish with just big pieces of carp blade on the bottom. Today we were fishing with big rattle traps.
Okay.
Like musky fishing. We had 60 fish today, up to 100 pounds.
60.
Yeah, on lures. I've really refined the lure fishing this year, and it's coming along really good. And it's pretty interesting. Our biggest two lures this year was a 171 and a 121 the same day.
How do your folks? I mean, 60 fish when you're up getting, like you say, I know you can get them up to what, 200 pounds and above.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep a guest alive catching that many big fish in one day?
Well, it's kind of like these guests that are really tough, musky fishermen and can cast a lot of lures.
Okay.
But the thing with these fish is you're going to get a bite almost every cast.
Oh, okay.
So it's not your casting for lots of casts and just a few bites. Now it is depending on water levels. When our water levels jump real high, the fish pile up behind a dam down here, and we get them with lures then. Other than that, we go soak a piece of carp on the bottom, and we'll get from 3 to 7 fish a day, from about 25 up to 120 pounds.
Wow, that's incredible.
You find the lures.
It is a really incredible fishery. We've had gar do not spawn every year. They've only spawned 3 of the last 6 years, which is pretty rare. Normally, they only spawn once every 3 or 4 or 5 years. So. But we have a tremendous fishery here in the state because our Lake Livingston is kind of the nursery for all these fish that hatch, and then they're able to come into Livingston and mature, and then they go back up the river, and that's where we target them at.
Right, right. Josh, you were saying what, buddy?
I was just wondering, I had a question for Kirk. What the lures you're saying you're catching, or you're getting bites every cast, are you hooking all those fish too? Because I know gar can be pretty hard to hook.
I lost you, I think.
Oh, he was saying, go ahead and say it again, Josh.
When you're casting the rattle traps, you said you were getting bites on every cast, and I was just wondering how many of those fish you end up hooking.
No, I don't think you can hear the way we got the audio set up. He says, do you actually get bites on every cast the way you're fishing with lures?
Yes, sir.
You really do.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, it's when you're casting these big rattle traps or big musky baits, the fish are laying in the fast current facing upriver waiting for the fish to come down, that have been crippled.
Okay.
And they're, when you're dragging this lure past, and a gar is really weird. They don't like a lure that's presented real fast to them. They like a slow, we'll pull the lure and then kind of let it die, let it drop, and then we'll reel the slack and pull it again.
Okay.
And that drop seems to trigger them to eat, because that fish is dying on them, and so and they'll actually follow a lure and hit it 2 or 3 times.
No kidding.
So they'll actually come back to the boat kind of like a muskie will.
Now, what kind of gear do you use? What's your typical setup when you go out with someone?
I'm using a medium heavy 8-foot spinning rod, paired with like an Akuma Trio 80 spinning reel with a bait, what they call a bait feeder, which is has people that are really familiar with spinning reels will know what I'm talking about. It's got a button on the back of the reel that allows the line to feed off freely.
Sure.
We pull it with a 100-pound tough line, and that's our lure setup. Now we do also cast with casting reels. We're using a 8-foot heavy musky rod with it's a Komodo bait caster from Akuma. And then for our bait fishing, when we're fishing bait, we're actually using I designed a rod for Akuma. It's 8 foot long. It's heavy. And it's really good rod. And we pair it with a 80 Coronado, and it's set up pretty nice. We've caught our biggest fish with clients has been a 267.
Wow.
So, it's huge.
Yeah. So we get some really big fish. We'll catch from 1 to 6 fish over 200 a year. We've already had 1 this year. We had 2 last year, 11 the year before. But 100-pound fish is really common. That's a fish that's just it's like a 8-pound largemouth bass. It's pretty common.
Well, what's your line class when you run the bait?
I have 150 world line class and world records. Over 150, sorry. I have clients from all over the world that come fish with me, and all over Houston that come fish with me for the IGFA world records. I've been one of the top captains for probably the last 5 or 6 years. So I'm pretty up in the IGFA stuff. So
that's great.
I do catch world records.
We had a couple folks joining us. Ted Johnson joined us. Hey, Ted, how you doing, buddy? John Augustine, he says, that's a beast of a rattle trap. He says, how do you get the hook out of there? It's way down deep. That must be fun trying to get a rattle trap out of a gar.
They actually won't swallow the hook. They actually get the hook in the corner of the mouth or on the tongue. And you just need a long, like 11-inch pair. I actually grab them with a bugger grip first.
Okay.
And then I hold them with a bugger grip, and I take a long, like 11-inch pair of mustad pliers and pop the hook out of their mouth. So it's not too bad. The main thing is trying to keep the hook in them to get them to the boat.
Sure, I would think, yeah. With all that bone around there.
It is bony. It is really bony. It sure does turn hooks over pretty bad.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I wish you could hear Josh, but we're set up right now. You can't. But I know Josh has got himself. What was it? Over 200 already, Josh? I think.
Yeah, little over 200 in the.
Little over 200 down by Houston. Yeah, he's out in gar fishing a couple times himself. He's got me hooked on. He keeps saying you got to come down here and try this, and I know it won't be too much longer. And I think I'll be on a plane and get down there and try it.
Yes, it's an incredible fishery. I mean, it's something that, I've been fishing these fish for, over 20 years now, and to catch and release. And I've got, like I said, I've got clients from all over the world. This virus this year's kind of knocked all my foreign clients, but I've had a tremendous, I've got a tremendous base built up of local and clients here in the States. And that's helped me, keep my, all my dates filled, which has been really great.
Sure. That's really good. I know a lot of the guys up here that are chartering and herding. It's good that you were able to keep things rolling down there.
Yeah, I'm fishing 7 days a week with these guys. So
yeah, I was looking at your website. It says try to book a trip. You're booked a year in advance. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to get in with me. But like I said, I've shot 58 shows now. So it's I'm shooting with Jimmy Houston next month. I'll be shooting a show with him middle of August.
Nice.
So it'll be my 59th show, and so it should be good. We'll get out and hopefully we'll have a little lure fishing. It'd be really nice if we could, because he's a great guy to lure fish with.
Yeah, I would say that'd be fun to get him on one. I can hear him hooting and hollering from here.
Yeah. But like I said, if we don't lure fish, we'll definitely get him on bait, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little about your boat too? You got a really nice setup on your boat.
Yeah, I've got a 1870 custom, well-built, builds me boats every year from Arkansas. They build me it's 18 long, 70 inches wide. It's got a deck on the front, deck on the back. It's open all the way through. We run normally a 250 Tohatsu jet. This year, there's a company out of New York that are building me a mud motor with a 250. It is actually a surface drive 250.
Okay.
And so it's going to be a little different. We haven't run one of those yet. We've run the jets about the last 8 or 9 years. So that's that's got us where we can run some extremely shallow water, because when you get down here in the summertime, it's incredible how shallow it is.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it really is.
But like I said, I've designed this boat where we could fly fish out of it and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of people that fly fish with me. So
I guess
it's a real pretty boat. It's looks pretty anyway. So
it does. I've seen it.
Dirty fishing. So, but like I said, yeah, it's a pretty unique fishery, and like I said, a lot of people from all over the world travel here to fish it with me. And so I have, thank goodness I was able to pick a fish that not too many people understood, and be able to, take it to another level. So.
Right. Well, that is definitely what you do. It takes it to another level, especially with all the IGFA records. You were talking about some of the shows, and I can barely keep Josh contained over here, because I know you were out with one of his favorites, and that was the guy from River Monsters. I think you were out with Jeremy Wade.
Yes, sir. Jeremy Wade. The first bite on his trip was 127-pound fish, and that was the biggest fish of the trip.
Wow.
And, it was, I've fished, like I said, I fished Doug Stange. I fished, I don't know, everybody that's ever filmed a show for one of them, I've filmed them. But I've had every show so far has caught 100-pound fish too. So I've been really successful there. The Japanese show I filmed in October last year, they had a 207 with me.
Wow.
So that was a really nice show.
Yeah. So how was it with Jeremy Wade? I know it's one of Josh's favorite fishermen. So I know he's curious. What's that?
Sorry, I lost you.
No, how
What
was it?
that?
How was it fishing with Jeremy Wade?
It was a very, he surprised me being, because I watched the show and I didn't really care for the show because of the theatrics. Every fish is trying to eat somebody and, kill somebody and all that stuff. So,
yeah, but a gar will, right?
Well, not really. They're totally safe. I mean, you can swim with them. You can, just don't put your finger in their mouth. They're
right.
fine. But he was an incredible fisherman. He's a really knowledgeable fisherman. Really did good. I had no complaints on it. It was pretty interesting. So I was pleasantly surprised fishing with him.
Oh, that's really cool to get those opportunities. A couple more folks joining us. Who we got? Art Begley. Thank you for joining, Art. Tim Keebler. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Tom Gilmore joined us, and Steve Kolnick. How you doing, Stevie? Thank you all again for joining us tonight. So what's the best time of year? I mean, what's they seasonal or
Yeah, it's really, my season runs from mid-March through the end of October every year. Try to shut it off at the end of October because I go to deer hunting and stuff.
Okay.
But I actually do fish them every month of the year. It's just weather dependent, because what happens is we start getting the northers blowing here in Texas, and it gets cold. Probably not cold to what you're used to, but cold to what the gar are used to, and they just won't bite when it gets cold. So we try to shut them off when it's the best time. I don't book people when it's marginal. Sure. So I just but like I said, I try to. I don't think I really try to book 7 days a week. It's just all of a sudden it happens.
Yeah, the calendar fills up.
Yeah, I'm fishing 7 days a week, so it's to the grandstone. So.
I don't know if I could convince my wife of that, hey, I got to go fishing every day this week, week after week. That might not float for me.
Mine likes it because of the money. So
yeah, well, okay. That's always a motivator, right?
He probably thinks like cut carp half the time.
Keeps you occupied.
Yeah. Josh was just saying, like, you use the carp for bait. I guess you got to go fishing basically, don't you?
Yes, sir. We actually will go early in the morning and fish for the carp a lot of times when we don't have any bait. And we have gosh, I don't know. We'll take pellets and fish small rods on the bottom for the carp. And we will, we'll get we'll catch 15 or 20 carp in the mornings. And then we try to, like I said, I try to have some when people get here, but all the time, when you're fishing 7 days a week, you run out of bait.
Without a doubt.
And so, but it's fun. A lot of people love to fish for carp because they fight like crazy. People here call them the freshwater redfish.
Yep.
And so, and like I said, they're really interesting. A lot of people will come from Europe to fish for the buffalo. Not too many will come here to fish for the carp. We also have big buffalo here.
Okay.
And we'll actually fish for the buffalo and grass carp in the mornings before we go. We also have stripers. We have hybrids, and we fish for those sometimes on topwater before we start gar fishing.
Okay. Do you charter for anything else besides the gar, or is that your mainstay?
No, sir. I'm just totally gar fishing every day. That's my focus, because like I said, I'm so busy with just the gar. I don't have time to do anything else.
Nah, I got you. Hey, it's what's making money, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
That's a lot of time in the Texas sun.
Yeah, it is. Josh has a lot of time in that Texas sun there, isn't it?
What was that?
He said it's a lot of time in that Texas sun.
Yes, it's today we were out till about 1:15 today. We left a little early today. We normally stay till about 2 o'clock, but it got really warm, and the guys have been casting lures all day, and they were ready to go. So, but it's typically on a bait setup, we're putting the rods on these European bite alarms
right
on the shore, and then we go sit in the shade and wait for a bite. And as soon as we get a bite, we run over and grab the rod, follow the rod, and let the fish eat the bait, and then we set the hook and catch him. So we're not in the sun all day like today and yesterday. When you're casting lures, you're just right there. There's no relief from it.
Yeah, actually, I was talking with our friend Ted Johnson this morning about that, a little bit about what you were doing. He's saying, yeah, you put the bait in the deep holes, and then you motor up to them when you hear one of your alarm goes off. That's kind of a neat idea.
Yes, sir. It's we go, and I mean the gar are going to be in the deep pools. It's real simple to find them. They're going to be, there's shallow rapids all down the river, and you go through the rapids, and then you go into a deep pool, and that's where the gar are going to be. I mean, it's not rocket science where they're going to be.
Sure.
It's a little difficult to make them eat sometimes, and to keep them on the hook. But like I said, we use these European bottle arms, set the rod on there, and then we put 4 rods out. And then we go sit in the shade and wait for a bite. And as soon as we get a bite, like I said, we run, grab the rod, follow it, and sometimes up to 10 minutes before we set the hook.
Oh, really? That long?
Painfully long.
Yeah, because what they do is they pick a bait up and they try to kill it. It's what they do. They're in their mind it's still alive, so what they're doing is biting it, trying to kill it. And when they think they've got it killed, they'll stop and eat it.
Okay.
And that can take, like I said, up to 10 minutes.
Wow. So you're in no hurry to go up and grab the rod once you hear it go off, right?
You actually not a great hurry to grab the rod. You just want to grab it before he spools you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he will spool you a lot of times running down the river. Because literally these things can run a half a mile sometimes.
No kidding.
You gotta follow them.
Yeah, they can go like crazy.
You might need a fighting chair on the front of that boat of yours if they go that far.
It's not that bad. It's and they don't fight as hard as a saltwater fish. They're 2 or 3 pretty good runs, and then they're typically over. That's typically all they're going to do.
Okay.
So it's not something that's just going to kill you when you're trying to catch one.
Okay.
So
high power, low stamina.
Yeah, that Josh says high power, low stamina. But yeah, looking at the size of them, I just think you're fighting that for a good hour to try to get in. But I guess that's not so.
No, it's you're typically looking at 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
At the most. Now I've fought 1 hour and 45 minutes, but that's very, very rare. It's just it kind of depends on where he's hooked and all that stuff. But typically it's 10, 15 minutes is a long fight.
Oh, it's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible at all. But
it's a beautiful fish, though. I mean, it's what a trophy. I can't imagine. I can see why people come down to you.
There's only one other place you can go in America to catch a fish over 100 pounds in fresh water, and that's that's sturgeon fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And the gar are actually the largest freshwater fish. You hear people talk about sturgeon are largest freshwater, but they're not actually true freshwater fish. They're anadromous.
Back and forth. Yeah.
So, when they can, they'll go back to the sea.
Sure.
People have kind of made them landlocked now with the dams and stuff, but like I said, the gar are actually a true freshwater fish, and they will get over 100 pounds. So that's the draw from Europe. It's a large freshwater fish over 100 pounds, and that's a different species that they're trying to catch.
I got you. Oh, that's alligator gar. That's the species you go after, right?
Yes, sir. It's alligator gar, but we have alligator gar, we have long-nosed gar, we have spotted gar, and then we have a hybrid between the alligator and the long-nose, and they get over 100 pounds also.
Wow. That's I was telling Josh. Yeah, I was telling Josh before. I mean, I fish up in Lake Ontario once in a while on St. Lawrence River, and I've actually seen some spotted gar come up along my bass boat one time, and I had no idea what they were at the time, and all I could say was, I need a bigger boat. Them things are huge.
just think of some that are 7.5 to 8 feet long.
I know.
And then, and these, my biggest one was 9.6 and had a 54-inch girth.
That's incredible.
So, but that's the only fish I ever seen over about 8.5 foot long. The rest of my fish have been 8.5, just 96 inches, stuff like that. So that's still an incredible fish laying in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, I just love the way you say, oh, it was just 89 inches. Like, that's incredible. Hey, Kirk.
Yeah, it is. Yes, sir.
No, just go ahead. Finish up what you're saying first.
It's just an incredible fishery, where you can go and be pretty assured that you're going to catch a 100-pound fish in fresh water. And we have it right here in our backyard. A lot of Texan people do not even, chase these fish.
Right.
They're chasing catfish and white bass and crappie and stuff like that. And it's just weird because, here we are, have one of the known trophy fishery in the world, and a lot of people don't even chase them. So it's good for me.
I know if they were in my backyard, I think Josh and I'd be out there pretty much every weekend on them.
That's right.
I hear you.
Yeah. So you're fishing with the Trinity River, I think you said. Is that where you fish, or the lake?
Yes, sir. I fish the Trinity River, Lake Livingston, and also fish Lake Sam Rayburn.
Oh, okay.
I do fish a little further down south. I go down towards Corpus Christi and fish Lake Choke Canyon. but that's only about 2 or 3 times a year. I don't fish down there very often.
Okay.
So it's a ways down. But
well, I know you said booking with you is about a year in advance. You got a pretty healthy waiting list, and that just speaks to your professionalism, of course. But if folks do want to contact you and book a trip with you, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
they can either go on alligatorgarfishing.com, or the best way is just type in Kirk Kirkland. I'll pull up on everything, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and just send me a message, or you can call me at 214-490-0284. I answer my phone every day unless I've got a fish running, and then I'll call you right back.
I'll give you a call back.
Yep, I definitely will. But I'm really easy to find. Ted has fashioned me a great website.
I've seen that.
It is absolutely great. You know, it's easy to find. Like I said, it pops up really easy, so it's not a problem to find me.
Okay, that's Kirk Kirkland, guys. And I'll put some information in the header below underneath here in the notes, so you guys can get a hold of him. Kirk, any closing comments for the viewers here?
I don't guess so. Like I said, I'm already over half booked right now for 2021, excuse me. And it's if you know some dates that you're kind of interested in, it's good to get them in the day, but the year before, or the year before, even 2 years in advance.
Wow.
Because I have a lot of trips that come with me for 2 weeks. So they fish, 2 weeks at a time, and that eats up a lot of my, my calendar. So, and I get about 10 of those a year. So that's, that eats up a lot of dates.
Well, one thing I didn't touch on, and I do want to, before we let you go, is I think you built a little guest house for your guests that come in and fish, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do. I have a 14 by 42 cabin here. It'll sleep up to 6 people. It has Wi-Fi, satellite TV, air conditioning, of course, a full bathroom. It's $60 a night for the group. If there's one person or 10 people,
Wow.
It's real comfortable, and I pick them up here in the morning when I leave the house. It's right by my house. I pick them up, bring them back in, drop them back off. They can come back in and take a shower before they leave if they're just staying one day, or if they're staying multiple days. They can take a shower the last day before they leave, and that way it gets us time to get it clean before the next group comes in.
So you got world-class fishing, trophy fish, great convenient accommodations right there with Kirk. I don't think it gets any better than that. So I just may have to put a reservation in for like 2022, I guess. So
get down here and catch a big fish with me.
I'd love to do that, Kirk. Maybe we'll have to do that. Well, Kirk, we're going to wrap things up with you. If there's nothing else, I want to really thank you for joining us. We got the rest of the show to go on here. You're welcome to hang out and listen. But if there's nothing else, what do you think, Josh? Any closing remarks?
No, what a great guy. What a knowledgeable guy. Like I said, here he's known by pretty much every fisherman. I think that speaks a lot, as does his schedule. So
yeah, you couldn't hear that, Kirk. Josh was just saying how great it was and how well known you are, and he just really appreciates everything.
Well, I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's I've been really fortunate to have a ton of sponsors, and it's been a great run, and hopefully I can keep doing it for a few more years, and just take it to another level. Like I said, I've tagged, I kind of just wrap it up. I tagged over 3,500 of these fish for the state of Texas, and got a few regulations passed on them so they would have a little protection.
Great.
Because they didn't have any protection at all when I started. And so like I said, now maybe our grandkids will have them here to fish for us. So
that's great. That's really great.
Like I said, it was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll get you down here and catch a monster fish.
That sounds like a deal. I'm in for that. Kirk, I can't thank you enough. I mean, world-class fisherman. I know you're incredibly busy, but thank you for taking time to talk with us today.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
All right, Kirk. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Boy, that was fantastic, Josh. What do you think, bud?
Oh yeah, that was great. What a good guy.
He really is, and I'll tell you what. I think I may just have to get down there and fish the guy. I mean, I know you catch gar too, but looking at the way he does,
not as well as him. I don't.
No. But the success rate that he has,
yeah.
I mean, that's just fantastic. So
his comment about now his grandchildren will be able to see those fish. It's scarily true, because those things were driven to the brink of extinction, and without changes that were made, and probably still more to be made, but they are recovering now, and they would have been gone.
Yeah. And it's good. Like you said, he does a lot of catch and release too. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's, so the guys just bow shooting them or just shooting them straight up. This way,
for a long time, they were just viewed as trash fish. So, and now it's good to see that they're getting the respect they deserve.
Good.
Been around a lot longer than us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a big fish. And like I say, maybe we'll have to run down there and do a show with him one day right on the water, do some video work. That would be awesome. We'll have to plan on that. All right, guys. Look, before we get in the trophy board, I got a little community announcement for you guys. And this is from the Pennsylvania Outdoor Veterans. They got 2 events coming up here. The Wheels of Freedom Car, Bike, and Truck Show. And they're also having a craft and vendor fair. And that's Saturday, July 25th from 10 to 6 p.m. And that's right in Palmerton, right there in center. So for more information, you can text 610-390-0963. And also from the same group, the Pennsylvania Outdoor Veterans, they're having a event on Sunday, July 26th, the second annual Sportsman's Bingo, and that's at the Tri-Borough Sportsman's Club in Northampton. Again, if you want more information, you can text 610-390-0963. But that's a good thing to help the folks, help those veterans. Great group, great community service. Okay, for now, we're going to head into our trophy board for this week. So let's take a look and see what we've got lined up. We've got Joe Kiefer sent me this picture in. Him and his buddy Gary Feely were out and they caught a mess of carp. Let's see, he said he caught in 3.5 hours, 5 carp, 2 cats, 2 turtles. He lost 2 carp and several pickups in the process. Sounds like a good day on the water to me, Josh. That's not terrible.
Yeah, action is action, definitely.
My good buddy Tim Keebler out on the Delaware, just crushing smallmouth. Sent me this little pic this morning. He was out catching a few, so good work there, Tim. Justin Lerner, a good friend, he was out in Round Valley catching some of these Lakers. I think we've both been out there, Josh. That's a great little fishery out there.
Definitely, a lot of fun.
Looks like Justin's out stealing our fish, you know. Good friend Tom Gilmore out hitting the bass again on his kayak. You know, Tom's always out there catching fish. And he always likes to take his family out. Actually got his son Eli out on another nice bass as well. So some great fish there, Tom. Good work. Eric Crowley was actually out in Georgia, down there in Georgia, and he got himself some nice striper. He wanted to send us this pic. So thank you very much, Eric. We do appreciate
nice
that.
Fish.
Yeah, it was. Mike Barner was actually up in Lake Ontario getting some of these salmon. Isn't that pretty? I got to get back up there, Josh. I haven't got salmon in a couple of years. I'm kind of missing that. Also, we got Tom Van.
Our first one.
What's that? That would be your first salmon.
You can take the first one.
Oh, okay. Last we got Tom Van Tries. He was out catching some smallmouth, and that was out on the Susquehanna. Of course, beautiful smallmouth, always on the Susquehanna. Great fishery out there. So that's kind of going to wrap up our trophy board for this week. Some nice fish there, Josh, huh? Yep. I'm losing you, buddy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There you are. So let's go on to the next. We got
okay, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost you for that. That's okay. We'll get going. Trivia giveaway. So we're kind of in the spirit of working with Kirk here in the alligator gar. They're certainly a unique species. Since they can spend extended time out of the water, do they have gills or lungs? That's the question for this week. Gills, lungs, or maybe even both. Is that the right answer? So we're going to take the first person that gives me the right answer, and you're going to get a nice Tony Maja buff as a prize for this week. So first answer, who's going to give us the correct one? Do gar have gills, lungs, or both? Hi, Courtney. No, it's not lungs. Where's my buddy Jen Wong? How come he's not giving me an answer? Stephen Davis, he says they have both, and that's correct. They actually have a swim bladder that can act as lung as well. So they have their traditional gills, and they also have a swim bladder that can act as lungs. So that's a good. Stevie, you got another prize there, buddy. So you're getting the Tony Maja, the buff, and I'll get that out to you real soon, my friend. Tom's laughing at his wife there, I think. Don't do that, Tom. You get yourself in trouble. Samantha, you got the answer too late, unfortunately. So actually, I think that's going to kind of wrap things up for this show. What do you think, Josh? Oh, Josh fell off on me. But yeah, thanks, guys. We hope you appreciated the talk with Kirk. We tried to get him on video, but just had some technical problems. Hey, we deal with it. We got him on the call anyway. We just wanted to give you guys a flavor for what he does and what a great fishery down there. If you ever want to go on to a great destination trip, Kirk's the guy you want to give a call. So we're just going to wrap things up here. Again, thank Marketing for Guides. If you're a guide, outfitter, charter, or lodge, give these guys a call. They can really up your bookings and make sure there's butts in those boats. So really good guys to talk to. Again, Tony Majah Products, the Fisherman Magazine. Thanks to them guys. They're always out supporting Pocono Outdoors Guy. And don't forget, keep those pictures coming. We'd love to hear from you guys. Any comments, suggestions, give us a yell. And next week, we're going to have a show where we're going to take your calls during the show. It's all going to be about you. Stay tuned. Look at my Facebook page for more information on that. And that's going to wrap up this week. I hope you guys had a good time, and we'll look to see you again all next week. Thank you, guys.